today is a lesson on writing. I really love lessons on writing. You know, writing is really hard, but the thing about writing is we were able, writing is one of the very first things that we were able to attack. So we were able to get to the bottom of the writing test. Oh, that's so important, guys. Get to the bottom of the writing test. It's no longer a mystery. Like when I see an essay, I say, this is gonna score a 7.5 or something, or this is gonna score a 6.5, or like, I think you have a chance. Like for example, a student is gonna send me an essay that was marked 6.5, and then they're gonna show it to me, and then I'm gonna go like, you should have this remark because the scoring here was really wrong, something like that. It was the very first. Writing was the very first that we attacked. And then after that, we were able to move on to the speaking test. And now I'm so proud of speaking. I mean, we have so many students scoring so high in speaking. And we also found out the secret to speaking is really to drill it to death, right? And yeah, just clean up all the tenses and make sure you have their subject verbs, and hopefully you can get some vocabularies in. And that's why we have students who score a 9 in speaking, or an 8.5, or a band 8, or 7.5, or 7. And then now we are in the middle of reading there, and then reading is going well as well. So back to the writing. So this is what we call a task 2. This is from my student, Danny Reyes. Danilo Reyes is actually in the UK as we speak. He actually managed to get there because he was petitioned by his wife. So his wife is a nurse, and the wife passed. I think the wife took the OET, and so the wife was able to bring the family over to the UK. They're all together now in the UK. They're living the dream, and then Danny is now about to enroll in a course in the UK, so he needs the IELTS for that. He only needs a band 6, but I'm telling you, since writing was the very first that we were able to attack successfully, he's just not gonna score a band 6. He's gonna score a 7. This is his task 2. So this is the continuation of the series on the easiest way to score a band 6.5. So I think I should type it on the top. The easiest way to score a band 6.5 in the writing test. Okay. All right. So we're going to tackle that essay, guys. But apart from that, we're going to tackle a task 1 as well. So based on,
Maybe can you give me my Eskinol and mine?
okay, somebody's mic is on. Shasha, your mom's mic is on, Shasha. Okay. And this is a task 1. So they were asking for something difficult and complicated. So that's the one. There. The amount spent on 6 consumer goods in 4 European countries. This is from Cambridge 3. I think this is test. I want to be sure, guys. Let's find out what test is this. Cambridge 3. So as we all know, the earlier Cambridge materials are the more difficult ones. Test 2. Cambridge 3, test 2. Okay. So, okay. Am I coming across, guys? People can hear me
Loud and clear, sir.
Yeah.
loud and clear. Yeah. Are we recording? We are.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
I wonder how we can tell. Oh, okay. There. So yeah, we are recording. So what you have here are consumer goods. Okay, that's a term you should be familiar with, guys. Consumer goods, because that's really a very powerful trend in the world today. It's all about consumerism. So we're gonna do something like that. Consumer goods are really goods that go through a manufacturing process. Remember that, guys. Consumer goods are goods that go through a manufacturing process. So, for example, you cannot consider rice as a consumer good, or fruits or vegetables. These are items which have to go through a factory or something. So there are personal stereos, tennis rackets, perfumes, CDs, toys, photographic film. How many items is that? That's 6 items. You're gonna make a 20-minute essay on those 6 items, and each item is subdivided into 4 countries. Oh, come on, Isles. You gotta show some mercy. I mean, that's why Regine's potential partner was saying, gosh, this is hard. All right. So, yeah, we're going to write about this. Can we just have 1 country for each item? And what they have here are 4 countries. And so, as we all know, these are really some of the richest countries in the world. They're all in the European Union. Very powerful bloc, the most powerful economic bloc in the world. And all of them are part of NATO, the most powerful military alliance in the world. Okay, but as we all know, the UK left the European Union already, but the UK is still part of NATO. All right, so that's gonna complicate our description. So I'm gonna show you how to make this easy. How can we make this thing easy? All right, that's your task one. So again, for the task two, we will talk about the essay of Danny. I'm sorry, I forgot to read it. Some people believe that it is best to accept a bad situation, such as an unsatisfactory job or shortage of money. Others argue that it is better to try and improve such situations. And as you can see, the prompt says discuss both these views and give your opinion. So clearly, this is what we call a crossover essay. That's bad news. That means you have 2 sides of a particular issue that you should both discuss. And a third step, the first step is you discuss 1 side. The second step is you discuss the other side. And that's the discuss both views. And the third step is for you to come up with a an opinion, and your opinion should be a logical problem solver. Darn. Okay. So for those of you who have gone through the regimen or are going through the regimen for writing, we all know that we're talking about the A2 style, the B1 style, the B2, or the B3 styles. There. Okay, so that's our lecture for today. So before we begin, guys, I would like you to go back to our Einstein YouTube page. So this is Einstein, correct, on YouTube. Wait, let me press back on that. So this is the page itself there. Okay. No, 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 no. This is the home page over here. There, that's the home page. So what I want you to do is I want you to go to playlist, click on that, and there you will see the playlist. So the relevant playlist that you should be watching right now is the Cambridge series. So let's click on that. Let's click the view the full playlist. Okay, so we began this series with a Cambridge 7 material, reading, writing, listening, and speaking. So this was just about the time I was reviewing for my own IELTS. This was somewhere January. So let's click on Cambridge 7 writing. There was it January 2022. Oh, it was December. Can you imagine? I had a lecture on December 25. Gosh, man, I am so hardworking. Something's wrong with me. All right, so Cambridge 7 test 3 writing test. This video demonstrates a live time rendition of the question prompts for the task 1 and task 2 writing test. In test 3 of the Cambridge material, I would recommend that you watch that video, guys, because it is a live demonstration. It took an hour, so I actually look at the graph that I did for that. That was really a tough graph there. See that? Can you see all those bars? Man, that's a crazy bar graph. So I would recommend that you do watch that video and see how I made sense of such a complicated bar graph there. There, how was, and then I demonstrated how to write that essay. And then right after that, we went into the task two. Okay, I just want to take a peek as to the lesson that was discussed for the task two. Okay, so as most people in major parts, wait, I'm gonna just maximize the screen. As most people spend a major part of their adult life at work, job satisfaction is an important element of individual well being. What factors contribute to job satisfaction, and how realistic is the expectation of job satisfaction for all workers? That's a beautiful question, Prom. It's very relevant. Comes out a lot in the IELTS exam, either in the speaking test or the writing test. I highly recommend that you view how this essay was answered, and figure out what are the factors that contribute to your own job satisfaction. After all, everybody's in a job, right? All of us are in jobs. So we should be aware that it's not just all about the money, right? There are other factors that contribute to job satisfaction. Okay, so that was the video. Wait, what's happening? Okay, there. So I'm gonna press this X there. All right. That was the Cambridge 7 test 3 video. Then let's scroll down further. Don't forget to watch that, guys. And then, so we went into Cambridge 9. Okay. Lots of speaking tests. There's no writing test there. Cambridge 15. Okay, so we have one for Cambridge 15. Yeah, I'm sure this is the time we were reviewing already. Oh, that's a February 7 lecture. Okay. See, there's another difficult bar graph that we did there, guys. It's worth viewing that video there. And then what else did we do? What was the task two for that? Oh, can you check that out? We checked out the model answers over there. And then, okay. I think we had another task one. See, so we did another task one. Although this one is easier, can you see? Everything's just going up. Easy peasy. And I wonder if we did a task two for that as well. I think we stopped at the task one. Yeah, because it's just all about writing task one. So go watch that video as well, guys, because these are quite current. And then finally, we are going into Cambridge 3. So that's where we are right now. So I wonder what this writing test is all about. Cambridge 3 test 2. Oh, okay. So this is the easiest way to score a band 6.5. That was the earlier lecture I had. But the one we did here was a one-sided question prompt. When a country develops its technology, the traditional skills and ways of life die out. It is pointless to try and keep them alive. There. So, wow, what a nice question. Okay. So, let's try to isolate a traditional skill that's no longer with us today, right? Like the notion of the harana, for example. You know, when a male suitor is trying to win the heart of a woman, then you get a guitar and play in front of her, play something for her. Not now, it is no longer alive. So there. So watch how we handle that one-sided question prompt. And then that's it. The rest are speaking tests. These are interviews with people who scored really well, 7.58 band 7. So again, go back to this playlist, guys, and view the writing test videos for that. All very educational. So we can close YouTube already. Any questions? Are there any questions? Let's begin. Okay. So which one would you like to do first? Task one or task two? Can I get a survey? You want to do this difficult task first? Let's go. Let's do this one first. Alana, which one would you like to do first?
That one.
Let's do this one. Okay. All right. So, mhm. The chart below shows the amount spent on six consumer goods in four European countries. Okay. Ha. All right. So as you will see in the previous lectures in the Cambridge series on YouTube, there are four attributes that you should remember very well. And we call these attributes as the cunt. Cunt. Okay. Guys, there's no way, there's no other way for you to do this but to remember the four attributes. So I think this was first discussed in the Writing Hacks series, the Writing Hacks, video number 19 in the Writing Hacks series. So C stands for the all important cluster. So when I see graphs that are as complicated as that, my mind suddenly goes cluster, cluster, cluster. I mean, I hear alarm bells in my head. Cluster, cluster, cluster. There is no possible way that we can describe this graph by going one by one. We gotta group information together. That's the only way. That's the only way. And the difficulty with the cluster is to find it. Okay, so looking it from a distance. Okay, like I wonder if we can make this smaller. There. Looking at it from a distance, what I can actually see is that particular bar at the bottom. It always appears to be the longest. Do you see, right? So that is certainly a cluster. Whatever that bar is, that is a cluster. Meanwhile, the other three bars, see, they appear to follow some different patterns. Some are upwards, like these two there. Some are somewhat arbitrary. There's really no pattern. See, so from a wider perspective, looking at it from a distance, I think I can make two clusters out of this. So whoever is that bar in the bottom, that's gonna be a significant cluster. And the second one is I'll just try to find some patterns with regards to the three other bars. Okay. And then wait, there's a third cluster that comes into my head, and this is the cluster on the goods themselves. So which one are the highest selling? So it appears to be toys and photographic films. Remember, this is Cambridge 3. So Cambridge 3 is a material from 2002. My God, 20 years ago. Remember that the iPhone was invented in 2007. That's why, can you imagine that? It feels like the smartphone has always been with us, but it only started in 2007. That's why photographic films are still very much in demand at this time. So that's my second cluster. So the first cluster is, oh, Britain. Oh, the Brits. They top all values. That's cluster number one. Winner. Number one, UK. Yeah, let's go to the UK. We're gonna buy as many things as we possibly can. CDs, can you imagine that at the time? Perfumes, tennis rackets, personal stereos. My God. But now, this one, plus that one has now been incorporated into the mobile phone. All right. The second cluster is, mm, yeah, we're just gonna cite about films and toys as the two most patronized products, films and toys. Okay. I mean, felt like just yesterday when we would go to a Kodak just to have our pictures developed. Okay. And then the third cluster, I'm trying to find out what cluster can I give for these three other countries, Germany, Italy, and France. So as we can see, so Germany appears to always have the lowest, almost always has the lowest, or one of the lowest there. So maybe we can slash this, guys. The UK, the Brits appear to have the most expenditures on the surveyed items, and the Germans, on the other hand, appear to have the least expenditure. And then, as far as Italy and France are concerned, there are just varying degrees of differences between them. Hindi ko na masyadong papansinin yung dalawa. Okay. So that to me is a cluster. All right. That takes care of the C, the cluster. And then the overview is very closely related to the cluster. So guys, so this is like your first body paragraph. You see that one? That's my first body paragraph, and then this is my second body paragraph. And of course, the overview now is just a summary of those two. Just a summary of those two. So if you find the cluster, you will find the overview there. Okay. These two are the criteria related to content, guys. The criteria, the criteria related to content. And these two are the criteria related to language. So this one refers to the nominals. Nominals are nouns, guys. And of course, if you have nouns, you also have verbs, right? So really, in a sentence, it's just the interplay between the noun and the verb. So when it comes to the verb, the tense becomes the important attribute there. So can somebody like give me, can somebody just like guess what tense should we be using for this? Can somebody give me a guess? Just try to pitch in a guess, guys. What tense should we be using for that? Anybody? Go, go, go. I'm just gonna have some coffee.
Past.
Past tense, yeah, that was a good guess. That was a good guess. Any other guesses? Yeah, that's a good guess because these are things that people bought, right? Look at that, spent, amount spent on consumer goods. That was actually a good guess. You can actually argue that that's the correct tense, but there's actually a more correct tense. So if you had used the past tense, then that's okay. That's still a correct tense. But the real tense that you should be using for this one is
Future tense.
I don't think it's a future tense. So because these are already goods that were purchased. So
Present.
yeah, we are only left with the present, guys. So there's a rule that states. I guess you will encounter that if you go to the 20 essay regiment. There's a rule which states. Yes, is there a question? Was somebody asking a question?
Is it past progressive?
Um, no, I don't think you should be using the progressive, guys. The progressive is the ing there. So I think you should just be using the simple tenses like spent or purchased or bought, not the progressive. You use the progressive when you're telling a story, but
Yeah.
you don't use the progressive when you're describing graphs. We remember that, guys. Do not use the progressive when you're describing graphs. It's wrong to use the progressive for that. So the progressive goes in storytelling, like part two of the speaking test. That was a good question. Yeah. So just use like the simple past or the simple present or simple future or maybe the past perfect tense. But there is a rule in describing graphs which states that uh, remember the time frame should always conform to the tense, right? Can you imagine how powerful time is? It is embedded in our language. Every language has tense. That's how important time is to our lives. We should be able to talk of things in the past, present, and future. So, whenever you look at a graph, of course, time becomes one of the most important attributes that you should look for. That's why the time is manifested in language as the tense. So remember, the time should always conform to the tense, and the tense should always conform to the time in a graph. But if there is no indicated time frame, then the default tense will become the simple present. Don't forget, there is no indicated time. The chart below shows the amount spent on six consumer goods in four European countries. It doesn't say if it was spent last year or 2002 or 2007. It just says that these are the goods that people from these four countries spent in a particular period of time, unspecified. There's no specification of time, then you may now use the present tense. So, as can be seen with regards to personal stereos, people from Britain purchase most of these items. Purchase, present. But again, as somebody said earlier about the past, that was also a good answer because you may use the past tense for this one, basing your decision on that verb spent, the verb spent. But since there is that rule, it's like, a presidential survey. So the survey was conducted like 2 weeks ago and then was released today. The tense that writers use for that description is the present tense. Like blah, blah, blah of the respondents trust the president, blah, 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 blah. They use the present. But the survey was conducted 2 weeks ago. So the survey is meant to show a snapshot of a present time frame, regardless of when the survey was taken. Do you follow? So similarly for this one, it is a snapshot of how people are in a certain time frame, even in the present. Kaya present yun. Okay. So we're done with the tense. Let's now go with the nominals. If there's a question, you just type in your question, guys. Just type it in. We now go into the nominals. Nominals are nouns. So Germany, Italy, France, Britain. So the good news is we do not have the article the for these countries. When it comes to countries, guys, you just gotta watch out for, oh, there's the UK. So watch out for the UK, the US, the UAE, the United Nations, everything with United. The Philippines always has the. Don't forget that. The Philippines always has the. But since these do not fall under that definition, unless you indicate Britain as UK. That's when you put the. And then let's look at these values. What are these? £1,000 sterling. So for example, you're gonna say something like this is something like 170,000 pounds sterling. There, 170,000 pounds sterling. Okay. Watch out for those numerical figures. You might get them wrong. 170,000 pounds sterling. Are these annual figures? That's a lot. It doesn't even say as to how, like, was this a monthly spending or annual spending? See. So now we have those four attributes already. It's not time for us to write the essay. Yay. Okay. So this is where I now, okay, I gotta snip this. Okay. And I wonder if there's a model answer for this. I forgot to check. Wait, let me just try to get a snipping tool. So far, so good, people. It's difficult, just like any other IELTS test. It's just like the reading test. It's hard. I mean, it's just like the writing test, task two writing. It's just like the speaking test. But as in every one of these tests, it becomes easier through constant practice. So just keep drilling them, guys. Drill, 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 drill to death. So we're opening the snip, and then I'm trying to see if there. I'm trying to see if there is a model answer for it. Okay. So that's for general training. I hope there's a model answer so I won't have to do any more writing. Okay. Test for. mm, okay. Okay, that's not the one. Okay. Yahoo! We have a model answer. We have a model answer. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Okay. The chart shows. Okay. Wait. I think what we should do is I should have snipped it before I scroll down. So that's page 166. Let's look for the task again. There, I forgot to snip it. There. See, there it is. So we're gonna snip this into a Word document. Snip, snip, snip. There. Okay, from the get-go, guys, looking at that model answer, I can already see a very visible difference between the older Cambridge materials and the newer Cambridge materials. Okay, so let's just copy paste that there. Snipping. There. So where do we go? We're going back here to page 166. So we will just refer to the snip as we go along. We have a model answer. I'm so happy. The chart shows. So off the bat, guys, what I can see is there's no introductory element. So that's no longer possible in the IELTS today. So make sure that you do have a proper introduction. So let me make the introduction for you guys to make it easier for you to understand. So I will say something like there, a survey. Okay. A survey was conducted involving 4 European countries, measuring their expenditures as regards to 6 key consumer items. There, that's the introduction. And maybe we'll just add units of expenditure were measured in £1,000 there. That's the intro. That's what's missing in the model answer. Okay, where do we go? The chart shows that Britain, among the 4 European countries listed, has spent most heavily on the range of consumer goods included. So that's our very first overview, right? Okay. Go Brits, keep on buying. In every case, British spending is considerably higher than that of other countries. Only in the case of tennis rackets does another country, Italy, come close. I wonder if there is another overview. Okay, so that to me is not a very comprehensive overview. So maybe, guys, this is already the overview. The writer is missing an introductory statement. So let me improve on that here. As the data reveals, spending was most So I can say was or is. All right. Spending is most pronounced among British people in all categories surveyed. With Germany mostly coming in as the least. Meanwhile, so this is the first overview, guys. That was the first overview. And remember, we have a second overview. You remember that, guys? This was our first overview. There. Meanwhile, pertaining to the 6 consumer goods measured, it is clear that photographic film and toys make up a vast majority of the country's comma, I mean apostrophe, spending. That's it. So this one is the overview. These first two sentences, those are the introduction. Easy peasy. Any questions so far? So now, since we have this overview, then my first body paragraph is going to talk about the British spending. So of course, I will begin with a photographic film and follow it up with toys. What we have is another cluster essentially. So we'll just group those two together and then group those two together and then group the last three together. And while we're doing that, maybe you can cluster as well Germany. Okay, you want to see me try it? You want to see me do that? Okay, in
Yes.
detail. Okay. As earlier stated, photographic films account for the vast majority of expenditures by the Brits at roughly 170,000 pounds sterling. And then I'm going to cluster the next one, toys, comma, with toys coming in a close second. And then we'll jump to Germany. The spending of Germans on these two items represents the spending represents the lowest at similar at a similar range, at nearly similar ranges, from between what's that, 100 for between 150 to 140 to 150,000 pounds. Okay. Let's now go into there. Marami pa siya, guys. Kaya ang balak kong gawin is I will just cluster these 4 items together. Okay. So I will just say that the spending of the Brits on these 4 items are at a declining pattern. Spendings of the British on CDs. Guys, there's something you need to learn about nominals. You should pluralize them because you're referring to a lot of them. I see a lot of essays where, for example, computer, you just write it as computer. You're referring to a lot of computers, so you should pluralize these nominals, like mobile phones. Don't say mobile phone, you say mobile phones, tennis rackets, and personal stereos. Because if you singularize all of these nominals, all those are errors. That's the thing about nominals. Okay. You know, the thing about Tagalog is we do not have a plural. For every word, we do not have a, a morphological change to the word, even when it's plural. For example, uh, cigarillo. So that's one cigarette. But if it's a lot of cigarettes, cigarillo pa rin yun. In Tagalog, the marker is in the injection of the word mga, no? Mga sigarilyo. But the word itself, sigarilyo, does not change. We do not have a morphological plural version of the word sigarilyo in Tagalog. That is why that carries over to the English language. Everything becomes singularized. Watch out for that, guys. Okay, pluralize as much as possible. Tennis, rackets, and personal stereos follow a descending order, albeit within narrow ranges of between mm, that's like 155 to 165, 155 to 165,000 pounds sterling. You can just eliminate the sterling. Uh, German spending in these same items did not differ, averaging at around like 150,000 pounds. That's it. And then, so that covers our first paragraph, guys. Maybe we'll just mention Germany and Italy, how they just somehow, like here, it's France. I mean, Italy and France. France is higher here, France is higher here, France is lower there, and then lower there. Okay. So I will just have one sentence for Italy and France. France and Italy did not vary much as regards their expenditures, though the French outspent. Wait, I am. My tensing is whack. I don't know what tense am I using. I keep on changing the tense, so let's just stick to the past. Made up. It's a good thing I was able to remember the tense, guys, because the tense just keeps on. There's no stability in the tensing accounted. Represents the lowest and early, blah, 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 blah. Spending follow a descending followed. Follow a descending, albeit with narrow. Did not differ averaging France and it did not vary as much as though the French outspent their counterparts in films and toys. That's my version. So that's it, guys. That's my essay. That is my essay. How many words is that? 190 words. That's the description. So maybe I can just there. Make this into a separate paragraph there. And then let's move that. Oh, there are more words there in the bottom. That's it. And so if I want to score higher, then just like in speaking, the vocabularies become key. So maybe like if I had time to go back to it, I would change the word spending with something else, uh, something heavier, a heavier version of that word. Mm, okay, that's it. That's my essay. So, guys, just like in the other test, I recommend that you get a task, find out the four attributes, and then try to type your essay version of it. Look at the model answer. Watch out for your tensing, your nominals, your overview, or your cluster. Do not time. Do not time. Just take your sweet time. Try to produce the best output possible. And then as you get better and better, that's the time to level up by beginning to impose a time constraint. Okay. So there, I'll save this document, guys. I ask permission from Danny if I like Danilo, can I use your essay for my class later? And then he gave the go signal. So there it is. And let's just read the rest of the model answer. In contrast, Germany is generally the lowest spender. This is most evident in photographic film, where Germany spends much less than Britain. Germany only spends more than another country, France, in two cases, tennis rackets and perfumes. I also like the cluster of this person. So it began with Britain and then Germany. The thing is, I don't see any numerical figures, so that would be a problem if you had written this essay today. Okay. So there's a clear cluster now. It's France and Italy. Generally maintain middle positions, averaging approximately similar spending overall. I like the way he said that. Averaging approximately similar spending overall. Specifically, France spends more on CDs and photographic film, but less on tennis rackets than Italy does. Very nice. Italy's spending on personal stares is only marginally greater. Oh, very nice. Clap, clap, clap. Than that of France, while spending on toys is equal between the two. It is clear from the data given that there are some significant differences in spending habits within Europe. What a nice essay. So my only beef about this essay is first of all the lack of a proper introductory paragraph, and there is no numerical figure cited. That is a cardinal violation. If you had written that today, yeah, like what's the what's the use of the survey if you don't even cite what the numerical figures mean there. Okay, yeah, because I've been doing this all my life, Michelle. Yan. Sabi ni Michelle, looks easy on me. Yeah. You know, Michelle's kind of like love, no? Like, if you can, like, if you know how the game works, it's gonna be easier on you. Okay. All right. Can we leave task one? Learned a lot, guys. Learned a lot. Enjoy the lesson. Yes, yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So drill pa more, yeah. Take time. Find a quiet time of the day. Sit down. Write the essay. The easiest way to score band 6.5 in writing. 4 crossovers. So guys, I keep repeating that rule. For some student, it happens like in every essay. But that's okay because it's a simple rule, but people keep forgetting about it. And so that rule is cardinal rule 2. The great discovery ever made. The greatest discovery ever made in the history of IELTS teaching. Cardinal rule 2. Every single word or phrase should be expounded, expanded, explained, and elaborated. Once you do that, you are already at 6.5. Follow. Challenging. Okay. Mm, so Danilo was supposed to write his last essay, but it turned out to be the wrong question prompt. But as I was reading it, I was telling myself, "Oh, I love to discuss this in class." Yeah. So some people believe it is best to accept a bad situation, such as an unsatisfactory job or a shortage of money. So guys, that's a lot of words. So remember, just like in true false not given, a single word can make a world of difference. A single word can really completely transform an entire sentence just by the power of a single word. So when you go into your writing test, look at each and every word. Study in each and every word, making sure that you will not miss any of those words. Okay. So I guess the key here is it is best, right? Why is it best to accept a bad situation, such as an unsatisfactory job or a shortage of money? Remember, all of these are in the question prompt. So do just expound, expand, explain, and elaborate on all of those. Maybe give examples. Maybe you can cite that problem of the nurses, right? Like how important their work is, but at the same time, how little their compensation is, and therefore resulting in shortages of money and the difficulties of trying to make ends meet. Expound, expand lang, guys. No? Eh, pero yung best, bakit kaya best? No? Any ideas? Yun ang tricky part. No? You found the word, but how do you expound on that thing? Why is it good to accept a bad situation? Anybody? Guys? Anybody? No ideas? See, nobody wants to pitch in any ideas because they know this is on recording. They don't want to be embarrassed. So for me, the way I interpret that is it is best to accept a bad situation because um like there are certain things that are beyond our control, right? Like if you for example, if you happen to be born in the Philippines, right, which happens to be a third world country with tons of corruption, right? You cannot possibly control that. You are just stuck in that kind of situation. You just might as well accept your fate. A second argument that I can use is that um, wait, the fatalistic view, no? Parang everything happens for a reason. God put us somewhere for a reason. There's something we need to learn from it. Rather than avoid it, we might as well go through it and learn the lessons from it. Mga ganon, the fatalistic argument. Second yun. That's the second argument. And is there a third one? I want a third argument. Maybe a third argument I would say is that um, uh, we should count ourselves lucky because even if the situation is bad, it could be even worse. Di ba? Parang ganun. Maybe we should just accept it because otherwise we might find ourselves in a situation that's much worse. Yan. Tatlong arguments yan. And then I'm moving on. Others argue it's better to try and improve such situations. So this one is easier to argue, right? So parang number one, you can say that we are in control of our destiny, right? Like whatever happens in the future is because of the actions that we take today, the decisions that we make today. So if we want to improve the circumstances in our lives, we have to take the necessary steps. And then, example na lang din yung nurses, di ba? And then you can talk about the IELTS. This explains why A lot of nurses are struggling, sacrificing for the IELTS exam in order to improve the situation they're unfortunately stuck in. And ano ba? It is better to try and improve. Ano pa? Is there any other argument? I want another argument. I want another argument. Ah, another argument I could say is the only constant in the world is change. So if we were not to change whatever situation we're in or try to improve any situation we're in, we are violating the very nature of the universe. Oh, bigat. Something like that. So I have 5 arguments. I have 3 arguments for this one. And then I have 2 arguments for that one. Okay, did somebody try to contribute? Yon, try until you succeed, as the saying goes, di ba? Yon. And yan, balikan nyo na lahat ng kasabihan. Like, ang pagsisisi ay laging nasa huli. Regret always comes at the end. Mga ganon, di ba? Or like, winners never quit and quitters never win. Oh, lahat yun. Balikan nyo na yun. All those things that you learn in kindergarten. Once you do that, guys, congratulations, 6.5 ka na. How easy it is to score 6.5. Just make sure you have the correct arguments for both sides of the issue. 6.5 ka na. Whatever your conclusion is, hindi na bababa sa 6.5 ang essay. But of course, your training teaches you to solve problems. Remember, one of the problems that will arise is when you are faced with a choice. That is what you call a conundrum. You have 2 choices. Are you going for a local Filipino or a foreigner? Diba? We were talking about that with Regine. And then, are you going for the US or are you going for the UK? Those are problems because those are choices. And the regiment is training you how to deal with such choices. So that when you go out into the real world, you will carry these lessons with you and you will become a certified problem solver. When that happens, your score will now rise to a minimum band 7 because the essay solved a problem. Bravo! Let's see how Danny dealt with this essay. So, introduction through the ages. Okay, so this is what I meant, guys. You gotta pluralize those nominals. Humans tended. Humans. Okay, so the time, the adverbial time phrase is through the ages. So the better tense here is have tended to be adaptable in almost all situations. Okay, so let's pluralize that. Watch out for the nominals, guys. There's a notion by some people that it is best to accept a bad situation, like an unsatisfactory job or shortage of, okay, just forgot to type money. While others believe that trying and improving such situation would be better. This essay will discuss both views and give the writer's opinion. Okay. All right. For me, masyado lang, sana Danny could have like reworded some of these kasi it's too copied. All right. Yeah. But ang mahalaga sa essay nasa body to the conclusion. Almost all people encounter a bad situation in their life. There are a number of situations where it is better to accept a boring job or money problems. For example, during recession, a lot of people become unemployed. Tama yan. This means that the job market is thin and only few openings which are not related from one's previous employment. In such situation, it would be better to apply for those jobs, swallowing one's pride. Very nice. What a nice idiom. Than not having a source of income. To add to that, worst situation like war is where one has to think of one's own safety. Very relevant argument. If a person has a business area in the area of as a business in the area of conflict, losing money would be better and leave as fast as possible. Okay. So two arguments, really nice. Crossing over. On the other hand, as humans tend to be resourceful. Okay, let's just delete this as. On the other hand, humans tend to be resourceful in all situations. A bad situation can be an opportunity for the better. To exemplify, there is a social influencer named Cabby. I don't know this guy. Was laid off by his company during the pandemic, but what he did was use the social media like Instagram and TikTok to make funny and witty videos that entertain. His account garnered a lot of views with a lot of followers and is now worth millions. Some people also in the Philippines that are affected by COVID-19 are using the internet to earn their living through online selling, becoming content creators in different platforms like YouTube and Lazada. So essentially one argument lang yun with two examples. Okay, let's look at this problem solver. Having discussed both views, I can say that it depends on the situation whether a person should accept or try to improve it. There are cases like war and recession that we have no control and survival is our best instinct. Getting demoted to a less fulfilling job would be the best choice than not having a job at all. In contrast, if a person has the skills and resources that can be utilized to turn a negative situation into something better, yeah, make the most of it. One should make the most of it, like the social media influencers that are well known. This is an example of B2, guys. In conclusion, it depends on the situation what a person can do. Crucial things to be adaptable and persevering, or have perseverance to overcome hardships. That essay would surely score a band 7. Nice. Winner. Love it. That essay. How many words did that take, Danny? Okay. 421 words. Okay. Pero dito pa lang, intro, first body paragraph, second body paragraph, 6.5 na siya. Pasado na siya. Do you
Sir
follow?
Juni, I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, please.
Are they very specific with the number of words?
Minimum 250 dapat. Yeah. So,
Okay. What if just
they
like
explained
this?
it in a webinar before. It was explained how many, like, what is the deduction, like a 0.5 deduction for a certain number of words not met. No? Kaya lang I've forgotten it already. So I just tell students, just don't go under 250, as simple as that.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is a crossover, right?
It's a
Ma'am Alona,
crossover.
this is a crossover.
Yeah, that's a crossover, Ma'am Alona. Yeah. That's a crossover essay. Actually, Alona, pasanay kayo sa crossover. You might hate it, pero I tell you, sa buhay, maraming choices. Kaya dapat i-train nyo na ang sarili nyo what to do with choices. How do you solve the problem brought about by choices? Yun. Okay? Don't frown at the crossover. Okay? Embrace the challenge of a crossover. Yun. Parang si Mitch, di ba? There was a time in her life when she had to make a choice. Di ba, Mitch?
Yeah, I made the right choice.
Yeah. And she stuck to her choice. What if takot siya sa choices? Or she would be stuck. Ayun ang tanong pala si Alona. Yan. It depends, Alona. Hindi mo pa nadadaanan yan, Alona. Ay, hindi, nadaanan mo na yan. Nadaanan mo na yan. Balikan mo
Sir,
na
this
yan.
is the depends essay.
And it depends. B2.
This is where I
Decisions.
stop. I have one.
You do. Oo, mahirap kasi, Mitch, pag mag-stop ka, suddenly you forget what you just went through eh. Kaya
Yeah,
maganda,
honestly,
dire-diretso
that's
lang
why
eh.
I need to
Yeah.
go through again and read and view the videos and even read my essays.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Tinatanong ni Alona, parang nag-agree naman siya sa lahat. Ganun talaga ang B stance. You agree to both. Pero,
You
parang
need to discuss both
yeah.
views and you need
Yeah,
to
you
give
agree
your
to
opinion as
both.
well.
Kaya lang, iba-ibang klaseng agreement yon, ano? May agreement na depende, di ba? May agreement na sabay silang dalawa. May agreement na let's find a middle ground, yun yung compromise. Pero essentially pag B, you agree to both. Kaya B yun, both. Yun. Kasi guys, parang, I don't know in school everybody's been trained to make a choice, di ba? Di ba? Parang I'll give you two choices. Mamimili ka sa isa sa dalawa. No? Pero what we're learning in IELTS is there's a creative way to go for both. In fact, there are 3 ways to go for both. Yun. You can use the coexist or the it depends or the compromise. Lalo na yung compromise. Napaka-powerful ng compromise. You should learn the art of the compromise. Yan, talagang malupit na skill yan to bring with you for the rest of your decades. Okay. This crossover is applicable in discuss both views. Yes. So, actually, may mga to what extent questions na crossover pala eh. May mga ganun eh. Na to what extent do you agree or disagree? For example, McDonald's is better than Jollibee. McDonald's is the best hamburger chain in the world, better than Jollibee.
Burger King.
Ano bang issue sa Burger King? Bakit biglang naging... What's the controversy with Burger King?
I don't know.
Parang I
For
read
me, it's
something
the
about Burger King.
yumminess.
Anyway, so McDonald's is better than Jollibee. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Yan, to what extent na yung tanong na yan. Pero crossover yan kasi may McDonald's doon tsaka may Jollibee. Do you follow, guys?
Yes, sir.
Diba? Trapper, diba? Kala mo one-sided lang, pero it's clearly a crossover. It's a comparison between McDonald's and Jollibee. To what extent do you agree or disagree? Guys, I'll stop the recording and let's keep the questions coming. Okay, I'll upload this over YouTube. Stopping the recording.